Hello, everyone. My name is Paula Balmori. I'm the Global Director of Security Design at Brivo. We're a cloud-based access control company, and I am extremely excited today to be here with all of you to talk about smart building strategies in technology solutions design, which is a very dear topic to me because I worked every day with architects, engineers, construction companies, and developers, as well as security consultants, helping them integrate in the highest possible ways anything related to building technology. And so in today's presentation, this is just a high level view of the agenda that I'm going to go through. We're going to talk about, first of all, introducing the smart building concepts, because I'm sure if you're here today, you're interested in hearing and learning more about smart building technology and concepts, but it is pretty much a new term. So there are a lot of different directions and a lot of different perspectives of what smart technology and IoT devices mean and what does the ecosystem of IoT devices entail. And in order to also help all of us understand what are the best ways of collaborating together and integrating this technology in buildings, I'm also going to go through the different AC roles and smart building technologies, meaning the different personas in clients and stakeholders that are involved in the decision-making process of bringing technology into our spaces. Some key components and smart building strategies, as well as some security considerations that must and should be part of the smart building technology process when we are trying to come up with the best technology and IoT devices that we want to bring into our projects. And then I'm just going to share a very high level view of some case studies and best practices, as well as some great projects that we've worked with here at Brivo. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to take them, I'm sure, via email, and I'll let my contact information at the end of the presentation.
Real estate. It's a $1 trillion industry that is lying in plain sight, and in the last year, the space has had 15 IPOs. Over $32 billion has been invested in the space.
Why did I want to put that video there? And it's because for so long, building technology, and still to this day, is truly not part of the design process. And I believe, and I see it every day on my everyday job, that because if it's still not happening this way, there are a lot of different issues that happen from the lack of actual integration in the design, which leads to a lot of problems when it comes to money, retrofitting, and having to redo an entire ceiling because the system was not integrated in the early design process of the building, and also not having in consideration the specifications, or if we're talking about certain type of buildings, a risk assessment needed to be done in order to decide what technology or access control is going to be located in that space. So again, a lot of different friction points that happen because smart building technology is not integrating or considered as part of the design. And my goal in today's presentation is to help all of us understand some of the best practices to integrate that and help integrate that technology as early as possible. And that's why I wanted to start first talking about the different roles, the different stakeholders that have a saying and or are part of the process of bringing technology into the spaces, into the buildings. So I like to say that everyone cares about something, but no one cares about everything. So it is very important that we understand the different personas that we're speaking with. Architects, and again, these are all very general terms. I'm an architect as well, and we tend to care about design. We tend to care about how the concept is translated, the concept of the design is translated through all the different components in the building, and that includes the technology devices that we bring into the space. How does the card reader talk with the door frame? Those type of things are the things that an architect is going to be interested in hearing and learning about. Then we have the engineers, the people that are going to care more about the technology components. Does that device talk to the rest of the IoT devices that I have already chosen for my building? Can I make my building more efficient and smarter? Those are the things that they're going to want to learn more about. General contractors, they're going to want to care how fast can you integrate your devices into their project, and if there are any ways that they can potentially save money or help their their workers have a very smooth installation. So if your product, like for example at Brivo, we have a phenomenal app that helps our integrators install the app and install the devices and ensure that they have been properly installed and the health of it and if it's working or if it's not. So again, having a smooth installation is what normally general contractors tend to care about. Owners or brokers, they are all about the money, which I mean everybody is at the end of the day, but it's more about the return of the investment. Their property is going to increase in value. Are their tenants going to be happier? What are they getting from installing that technology in your building? In this case, for example, for Brivo, what do they get from installing certain access control smart devices? Security consultants, it's all about the resources. Do you have a team that is going to help them through the security systems design? Do you have the right updated specifications that they can just run by? Does your technology going to solve most of the problems that their clients have? What are the resources that you are bringing and or your team is bringing to help security consultants perform and do their job better? For example, at Brivo, the team that I lead, the AC team, we have a lot of free resources that we offer security consultants and well architects as well, because we have we can help with security systems design, with site assessments, with code compliant guidance, with anything related to the specifications. We also have our devices are in Revit, which is the 3D modeling software that architects and the construction industry professionals use to develop the projects in 3D. So again, all of these things are going to help you talk with all those different stakeholders uh, and help you integrate as early as possible the technology that you're trying to bring to your buildings, which ends up in a lot of different benefits. But again, just want to emphasize that when we are talking about the best way of helping us get the best technology and the best security technology in the door, we need to understand all these different personas that we're going to have to work and collaborate with and understand more importantly, what do they care about? What do we need to bring to them in order to perform their job in the best way possible and make their lives easier? And that's why I refer to this and again, not just me, like now it's known as PropTech, which is the property technology industry. And we are shifting more and more into understanding the importance of creating smart buildings because and I like to do this comparison. Nobody, like if I told you like, hey, you just need to use like the phone that is hanging on the in your kitchen wall, and every day you need to do an update of the phone, you need to go manually into the phone and everything. This industry is now known as property technology, and we are more and more going to be transferring into a more dynamic way and easier way of holistically integrating building technology into the buildings. And now let's just dive a little bit deeper into the smart building concept and what this means. So, because this is the PropTech Foundation and the Building Technology Foundation, and some concepts that is very important for us to understand to truly grasp and get an idea of what is the ecosystem of that we are integrating our smart devices into these buildings. And I'll just talk about from the Brivo perspective because we are a cloud-based access control company, but we are more and more transferring into a smart building devices company because at the end of the day, because we are an open source company, our products can integrate with so many different APIs, so many other different softwares that makes our devices part of again this ecosystem where we can work with automation and control, which is like what we are as a company. But then we can also connect and integrate with energy management systems, sustainability systems, connectivity systems, occupant comfort, and obviously anything related to security and safety. Which, again, this is not the future anymore. This is the present. If you start talking right now with any architect or any new project that is being developed, these things are now more and more part of the process and the development of projects. But it's very important that we understand all of these different pieces because, for example, for Brivo, when we go into a project, we don't just think about how we can impact the access control of a building, which is the in and out, into a space through a door, and how to make sure that those entry points and exit points are secure. But we now think bigger. We think, okay, how can we help our clients maximize their return, their ROIs from this components and these access control pieces that they are looking to integrate in their projects? And that is that understanding all those different areas of the smart building, and how we can integrate and connect with an energy management uh, software or company that monitors their energy consumptions, and put all that into our dashboard, because we have an open source, like I mentioned earlier, like we're an open source software, and that allows us to integrate all these different APIs and visualize them from one platform. So you can be seeing all of this that I'm mentioning here today from one platform. So what are the key components of the smart building strategies, and what do we need to start thinking? Because what I present right now in the in previous slide was the high level view of the ecosystem. But what are the key components, and I mean by components this the little devices and the little actions that these areas of the ecosystem are shaped by. And some of them are things like sensors, data analytics and AI, integration platforms, cloud computing, a human machine interface, lifecycle management, collaborations, and again, on and on and on. So these strategies are continuously evolving in with different advancements in technology. So the goal here, when we're thinking about what do we need to bring to the space to help our clients, I always like to start by asking questions and by truly making sure that we understand what our clients' needs are. And it's because it's not the same if it's a school than if it's a manufacturing company. So first understand what the needs are, what the operation needs are, like how do people move in the space, if there are people that move in the space, if there are any machines that need certain type of environmental conditions to operate. What are the operational needs? And again, to ensure that we bring the right components of the smart building strategies to ensure that they get the best return on the investment from the technology that we bring into the space. So now let's dive into, obviously for me, the most fun part of integrating any technology into the space, into the buildings, and is the security considerations. Because like I mentioned earlier, Brivo, we are a global cloud-based access control company, but as we've evolved more and more in the last 10 years, we've transitioned into a secure smart building company, which what that means, and again, I just need to repeat myself much more than I was saying earlier, we are more than just a cloud-based access control. We connect with all those different devices, and from our platform, you can control your building. As simple as that. So, but one part that I want to emphasize, it's the security part, because at the end of the day, that's our main mission as a company, and it's ensure the security and safety of people and spaces. And that's when we work with our clients, that's number one thing that we focus on and that we want to ensure that happens, because it's not only about protecting the operations and the business continuity, but it's about protecting people. It's about protecting the occupants that are in those spaces. And that is something that we never forget when we are working with our clients and throughout the entire process of the deployment of technology in all of these different spaces. So like it says here, there's a lot to consider when you first call us, or when you're first thinking of, bringing more security measurements and business continuity measurements in your spaces. And so how do you determine what matters? If you asked me a few years ago, I would have always told you, do a security risk assessment, a risk assessment, which I still think it's a really good practice. But you need to understand the purpose of your project. Again, it's not the same if it's a school, if it's not the same if it's a factory, if it's not the same if it's a office. You need to understand the purpose of your project, the function, what it's needed for to protect the space and to help that space um, function better and be as efficient as it can be. So it says here it's necessary in to understand the entire building ecosystem to create an effective security design strategies. And what is that ecosystem? Well, it involves protective design, security technology, and security operations. There are these three main buckets. Again, it's professional. It's more or less going to call them similar names, but these are or different names, but these are the three main buckets that we can categorize security design in a building. And again, involves protective design, which is kind of like all the physical design mitigation strategies that you can implement, like wall being higher or taller or putting extra fences or whatever it might be. Security operations, meaning is there any IP that needs to be protected? Are there any individuals that are executives that need higher protection in the space? Is it might be a data center that you need to make sure that nobody gets access to that data center. And then the security technology are all um, those technology components like access control readers, video camera systems, license plate recognition devices, biometrics, like all of those technology components that bring security into the space. So in an ideal world, like I was mentioning earlier, there are all these steps and things that you would do to ensure that you choose and bring the right security technology. But at the end of the day, we tend to just focus on these three areas: access control, surveillance systems, and intrusive detection and alarms. Which, again, this still brings great security into your spaces, and especially if you partner and choose the right companies to do this with, like Brivo, for example. Like I was mentioning earlier, we offer these complementary services to ensure that we choose the right technology. I don't want to go into your project and just put like unnecessary readers in cameras and spaces that are not going to be requiring those devices. At Brivo, we like to understand what are the true needs of your project, what are the true, like I was saying earlier, the true needs of your operations, and understand and walk through that floor plan to understand really what's needed based on the requirements of your project. And if there are any security standards that you have in place, we like to also understand what are those security standard requirements to, again, ensure that we truly integrate the security technology in the most holistic way possible. And what do people so when we are talking about like choosing the right technology into the projects, what does it do for the people, for the property, and for the processes, meaning the business? Because at the end of the day, and this is a big shift that I've seen in the industry, especially I would say even in the last 5 years, um, is that a lot of the times we go into a project and we just count the number of doors, and okay, you have 5 doors, this means 5 readers. But if we're talking especially about, it should be with all projects, but especially I see it more and more in the enterprise level type of projects. We need to, and our duty, I should say here, for myself and my team, is to always show the client, because I know this is an investment, and I know sometimes we don't understand why we need to spend X amount of money in access control or in a surveillance system. But it is something that an exercise that I like to do with our clients and with my team, is to truly walk through what are you bringing to, how are you protecting the people in your space, how are you protecting your property, and how are you impacting the business continuity of your company by bringing these devices and this technology and this security in place. So again, I won't bore you walking through all of this, and hopefully you can all get this presentation at the end. But there's a very, very, very clear return of an investment, and and the impact it can have on people, the impact it can have on the property, and the impact it can have on the business. And one, it's not shown here because it's part of kind of like our process and how we function, but the ROI, the analysis that we do for the return on investment in the economical study that we do for our clients involves the impact it can have on their reputation, on their operations, and on their people, and on the performance of their business. And we see it over and over again, the clear impact in and losses it can have directly to those areas, and the benefits it can bring of ensuring that all your doors are closed. And for example, if you're a manufacturing company, there is an area that needs to be at a certain temperature, otherwise like you are risking the possibility of losing some of the material that is located in that area, and you get an alert, and so that mitigates the potential possibility of losing some of your the material that a cannot get into certain levels of temperature. Or for example, for the people, you need to ensure like certain executive directors or executive personnel is not exposed or cannot access through the main entrances, but if they do, there is an alert that also goes into your system. Again, the countless and different ways in which access control, security systems, and I would say even any type of IoT device or smart building technology, the way they can impact and improve the overall operations and livability of a building are are infinite. And again, our team will show you and will walk you through how to get the best ROI of bringing these different components into your building. So in order to maximize in the way that we are maximizing those ROIs and proving you through, again, it's a different document from the one that is being shown right now on the screen, which I'm happy to walk you privately through that document to show you how you can make your business more money and help with losses, and obviously saving time and bringing better designs and more secure spaces. So some success stories that I would like to walk you through today are the commercial urban outfitter space that we did. And I just want to read the quote that was shared with us by the director of loss and preventions and logistics at Urban Outfitters. But from a vendor management perspective, we are able to have visitor screening questions built right into the check-in process. Some sites are federal trade zones that require signatures, making it easier to access and digital sign all through the platform. So one of the things that we did for Urban Outfitters, again, it's all the making their operations smoother, which goes back to the ROIs and understanding the impact access control and building technology can have, not only in protecting the people in your spaces, making their life easier, but also making your operations better in ensuring that your business continuity it's performing at its highest peak. Another great example, which we do a lot of multifamily projects in, that's why I wanted to put this luxury residential, is that at the end of the day, if your company doesn't care about operations, doesn't care about the security, at least is going to care about the experience that people are going through when entering in your spaces. And in this case of luxury residential in New York City, not only the residents feel safer and are able to experience have a phenomenal experience entering and exiting and going through all the different areas in the building, but also the facility management companies that are in charge of ensuring that this building is running smoothly are able to, because there are other complementary services that are happening in this building, to ensure that the operations of the overall building and this residential luxury unit is functioning again to the highest of levels. So again, it's not only about the money it can save to your operations, but also the experience in security, that it can bring to your users, which at the end of the day, it's 100% why we do what we do. And what I know, and because I'm experiencing, like I was saying, every day on my job, where things are heading and where things are at. And so at Brivo, we are excited to continue to bring the highest of level of smart, secure spaces technology into every building and project that we get into. And I am happy to answer any questions that you might have. My email is paula.bolmori@brivo.com. And if there are any questions, or you would like to get in contact with me to learn a little bit more about what we do at Brivo and how we do it, and the different technology and access control devices that we have, and or the different API companies that we integrate with, please feel free to reach out directly to me, and I'll be happy to show you a little bit more of what we do.
So, hi, Paula. It's great to have the opportunity to be able to catch up with you today and to find out a little bit more about smart building ecosystem. And thank you for delivering such a fantastic presentation. I've just got a couple of questions, so we'll go over them quickly. But the first one is, obviously you focus your presentation on smart buildings, and I'm interested to know how an overall building management solution that has been established, for example, during the construction process for a particular business or reason, how that is impacted when it comes to changes in occupancy. So how does that affect the kind of the security for a new building owner or the longevity of a building?
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for the question, and thank you so much again for having me today. So to answer your question, some of the advantages of having a very robust, or even just having a very good IoT ecosystem in your building, the way it changes or can help in the transition into a new type of building, because I think what you're asking is if we go from an office building to a multifamily building, which is something that we've seen happen more and more. It definitely is going to help us. And again, there are going to be a lot of different changes when it comes to the code, and how you're going to have to reshape the floor plan and everything in the building. But because you are going to have a much better understanding of how that building is breathing, it's being lit up, it's what areas need more maintenance than others, because you're going to have more data points about how that building is functioning. It's going to allow you to have a smoother transition. Still going to be challenging, but it definitely allows you to have a better understanding of the performance and health state of that building.
No, definitely, and a fantastic answer there. I suppose the kind of biggest point that you'd find in changes of occupancy is more so from fire safety and that side of things as well. But I'm also interested from a security perspective. What stage would access control typically be initially implemented in a smart building?
Like some of our partners, door hardware partners, like to say, does your building have doors? Yeah, then just the moment you start thinking about the doors. But some people would argue that you're fine waiting until you start touching anything related to fire safety. But I would agree with anybody. Again, maybe I'm biased because I'm coming from the architectural side. If you really want to make the building technology enhance the concept behind your building, the moment you start thinking about the drawings, the moment you start thinking about the different areas and spaces, and again, when you're in the conceptual stages, I would encourage architects to start thinking about the technology, because these days, and I'm sure you would experience this yourself in any building that has some type of technology in it, it's going to enhance the experience, or the opposite, if you don't really make it part of that design process. So that would be my answer.
I mean, very true. I couldn't agree more. And I think also when you're talking about something as fundamental as, access points into certain rooms or into the building, not only does that kind of, it's like I said, it sounds like a no-brainer when you actually talk about it, but it influences all the other next stages as well. If you've got access points, how's your evacuation happening? What's the safety protocol? Who actually has the ability to access those different areas? So it's all kind of, like you said, interwoven into one whole kind of design plan. And when it comes to, on the theme of building management systems, more and more people are like Brivo are straying away from access control or being penned into the remit of access control and moving more into BMS, and because of this ecosystem that you mentioned. So does building management make it more scalable and flexible for building managers, especially with obviously the adoption, which is rapidly increasing with cloud technology?
Well, 100%. And I don't know if you still have a phone like in your house or not, but it would be very weird that these days we steer away from our phones, our mobile devices that get automatically updated. Like if I told you, hey, just throw that away and just like leave from the phone that you have in your kitchen. Like no, everybody would be like, you're crazy. Why would you do that? You get automatic updates in your iPhone and in just your phone. And the same thing is for me and for our team and for anybody that is starting to truly understand the benefits and the importance of working on cloud. First of all, there are less maintenance costs because you don't have to physically go into your on-premise devices and have to update it, see what's happening, if something's wrong, if something is not wrong. When they're on cloud, you get all those automatically updates happen for you. And so again, you're first saving money. Second, you're staying up to date. So because your systems are always updating. And third, your performance, and you're ensuring a better safety and security of your spaces. And obviously better visitor management system experience and etc. and what other APIs might be integrated into your access control. But yeah, it's definitely absolutely needed to be thinking if they don't have it already in about the adoption of cloud. And again, happy to take this after with anybody that might have questions about cloud versus on-premise, because I know sometimes people are a little skeptical about on cloud, but hey, you have an iPhone, you're already operating on cloud.
I think that's one of the biggest points. Obviously I've recorded a lot of sessions, and obviously there's been quite a big focus on cloud technology. But that's the main thing is so many people don't realize that they're already utilizing cloud, whether it's in their personal lives or their business lives. Yeah, it seems to be a kind of natural progression at the moment, or at least a hybrid solution, dependent on obviously latency variables and regions. But on the theme of kind of moving away from that kind of on-prem solution and to a more kind of remotely accessible and unified solution. This to enable this unification, we need manufacturers to be open source like Brivo. Do you think interoperability is growing in popularity in the market and surpassing that just mere integration stage?
200%. And I couldn't love this question more because I 100% believe that if you want to survive in this modern age, like you need to be open source. You need to be able to have that quick flexibility of integrating with different APIs and different components. And because by yourself, and this is a metaphor for life, by yourself you can go far, but with a team you can go farther. So the same thing happens with companies. If you think you can conquer the world by yourself, sure, you conquer a little bit of it, but you're not really going to get the bigger pieces of the pie if you're not willing to collaborate with other people, because you cannot become a subject matter expert of everything that's happening in the world. And neither is going to be the same for your company. So interoperability and open source is the way to go. And we're seeing it because we've been always open source, and it's definitely helping us create a larger ecosystem, better relationships, and help more than anything, help our clients even better, because we have this menu of things and they can choose what's going to fix and help their business function better and their people as well. So yes, I think it is happening now, and it is 100% the future to be open source for sure.
Definitely, I agree. I mean, um, gone are the days where you're kind of just locked into one contract for the foreseeable future. You know, we're in a technological age where, you know, new emerging technologies are coming out what seems like every day, and also your end users, your building managers, your installers, they're becoming a lot more knowledgeable about all these different types of technology. And there might be the, oh, I've seen this new iris technology that I want to implement, and your installer goes, no, I can't, sorry, because it's not, you know, you need to upheave your entire system just to install this one new piece of tech. So allowing that flexibility is actually kind of, like you said, giving everyone a piece of the pie. And it's quite interesting that despite being kind of um, frenemies on the trade floor, actually that collaboration can instigate further innovation in the field and further security. And we're facing a lot of challenges in the market right now. So to be able to overcome those challenges, we need to be talking to each other. So, and that goes for our technology. Our technology needs to be talking to each other as well. So definitely, I couldn't agree more with your statement there. But thank you, Paula, for taking the time to talk with me and for delivering your session at Security Bio Live today. If anybody has any further questions, obviously, please do reach out to Paula, and you can also connect with her on the platform and find out more. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.